Hey everybody, I just wanted to give a ultra quick disclaimer. And this is very unprofessional and I do apologize, but the video you are about to watch is uh it's bad. I'm sorry. There's no nice way to put it. I'm not even going to try to pat myself on the back for it. Nintendo really came after me for this one. They didn't want any of the footage shown. Like I uploaded it. I'm not even kidding you. I uploaded it 9 separate times, and each time they copyright struck me for literally like somewhere as low as 10 seconds of footage, and you're about to see how tiny the footage is. So they still got me, and this wouldn't have been such a big problem for me, because the truth is, if they just wanted my ad revenue from the video, I mean, I probably only would have made maybe like $5 or something. That's usually what I make on my videos. It's nothing much, but if they had wanted just the money from the ad revenue, I would have just let bygones be bygones. But they blocked it worldwide repeatedly. Like, they didn't want the money, they didn't want anything, they just kept blocking it. And at times it was Nintendo, at times it was Universal, and at times it was just some other random company which is just doing it for I think on behalf of either one of those companies. And I tried to dispute it, but I couldn't. It was just instantly, no, we're in the right here, you're blocked. And I couldn't, there's just nothing I could do. And I tried every time to alter the footage. I put up that text that you're going to see, but nobody wants to hear this. The point I'm trying to make here is I am genuinely sorry. It's heartbreaking to see something you worked on just destroyed in a split second. And I am sorry. I'm sorry. The video is, I genuinely would say it's bad, and not at all a visual experience, period. It is an audio only experience. It's just bad. And I am sorry. I know nobody wants to hear any of this stuff, but I still wanted to. I ended up having to just put the text over almost the entire video. Like 99.5% of the video just has text on the screen. So I'm sorry. I have learned a lot, and I'm gonna drastically change how I approach these movie videos in the future. So yeah, I'm sorry. I tried. I even tried to like put so many filters on on the video at one point that trying to render it out was literally overheating my computer and making it blue screen repeatedly. I think I might have even fried my RAM. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sorry. I genuinely am, and I do hope you can forgive me. And if you don't want to watch this video and you're about halfway through and you don't want to watch it, don't force yourself to. Yeah, anyway, I'm just gonna stop talking and making excuses and just here's the video. Oh jeez. I recently watched Godzilla Minus One, a fantastic film, by the way. I missed my chance to catch it at the movie theater, so the moment it dropped on Netflix and Google, I leapt at the chance to pick it up. However, I don't own Netflix. In fact, I rather dislike Netflix and the other insane number of streaming services out there. Seriously, there are an overwhelming number of them these days, and it just got me reminiscing about the old days and video rental stores. The 90s and early 2000s weren't perfect. We had plenty of downsides, more when looking back with hindsight. But I've never been able to shake my love of those rental stores. In Australia, we had 3 big chains: Blockbuster, Video Easy, and Civic Video. I've got no doubt that there were others in Australia, but those were the ones that I remember clearly. Well, those in like just a few like mum and pop places. Going to a video rental store was always a big treat in my house, and we tended to go after school on a Friday. My brothers and I would browse around for close to an hour just looking for something new and exciting. My older brother favored action films and newly released things. My younger brother enjoyed cartoons and family films, and I enjoyed, well, looking at pretty much everything, but mostly browsing the video games. It's hard to describe the rental experience to somebody who wasn't around at the time, but I always remember the smell of plastic and popcorn, and the building was almost always a little too cold thanks in no small part to the air conditioning units. TVs were placed in almost each corner of the building, and they'd be playing movie trailers most of the time, but if you were lucky, sometimes they'd play an entire film that you could just stand there and watch. There would be hundreds, if not thousands of films and TV shows to look at, and, well, it could be a little bit overwhelming, but not enough to make you just, not stop and look at everything that caught your eye. And what would catch your eye was usually the title of the film or the film cover, which, by the way, a lost art. Seriously, film covers are a lost art. I really do miss it. Streaming services have this nasty habit of pushing the latest stuff because that's what they were paid to do, and they almost never give you an option to just browse everything by genre or by title. It's such a sterile and matter-of-fact experience. It was on one of these trips to the video rental store that I got my first taste of video game movies. I forget which year it was exactly. I'd have to say it was around 1995 or 1996. My dad, brothers, and I, we all walked into the store like we had done plenty of times before. We each went our own separate ways and began our hunt for the movie we'd pick to watch that weekend. I was browsing around and running past the horror section like I always did when I noticed a TV hanging on the wall playing a trailer for a movie. At first, the movie didn't really seem that interesting, but when it ended, I knew I had to go and search for that movie that was being advertised, because it was the Super Mario Bros. Film. Like most kids growing up around this time, I'd played my fair share of Mario games. I wasn't good at them, and I'm still not, but I still had plenty of fun playing them. I never knew that they had made a movie based on the game, and the idea of that really excited me. I'd get to see what the Mushroom Kingdom actually looked like. I'd get to see Princess Peach, Mario, Yoshi, and the Goombas. What wasn't to love? I ran to the front of the building, and I asked the person working where I could find the movie, and after locating it and my dad, I was ready to rock and or roll. That night, I pushed the VHS tape into the video player and I hit play. What followed was well, if you can believe it, an actually good time. Not what I was expecting, but then again, I was most likely about 4, 5, or 6 years old. So, hey, let's just say my taste in films at the time wasn't the best. So, yeah, I had an okay time with the film. Still, like I said, it wasn't exactly the film I was expecting. But why? Well, to answer that question and a few others, we need to rewind the clock back to 1993 and take a look at the Super Mario Bros. Film. And be warned, pals, because I'm going to literally talk about the entire film, so spoilers ahead. However, the spoiler warning isn't really what I wanted to talk about in this little disclaimer section. What I really wanted to talk about was how the video is going to look. For those of you who aren't aware, I recently did a video for the Fallout TV show on Amazon. Making that video wasn't bad, but getting the video uploaded onto YouTube was nothing short of horrible. Amazon came after me like a pack of feral ghouls and forced me to turn that video into a Frankenstein's monster just so I could upload it. This experience made me change my approach to making any future video about movies or TV shows, and the result is this. This is how the video is going to look. I wanted to get more art done, but I ran out of time, so this is how the this is how the video is going to look. I hope you can forgive me, and I promise future videos in the film series will have more art and will be more polished, but consider this video an experiment on my part. I need to know if, for starters, it will even work, getting around the content ID system and all that stuff, and yeah, just any feedback you could give is great. Still, I wanted to warn you that this is how the entire video is going to look, so yeah, think of this as a audio experience rather than a visual one, and I hope you'll understand. Anyway, I'm waffling on too much, so let's get on with the actual video. Our film opens up with a pixel animation explaining that a long time ago, dinosaurs ruled the Earth, but one day a meteor collided with the... Wait a second, meteor? Wasn't it an asteroid that collided with Earth? Hold on a second, I need to do some intense researching here. Hold on a second. Hang on, let me, how would I even look this up? Was it a asteroid or meteor that it's the first thing that pops up. Okay, hang on a sec. It was an asteroid impact, not a meteor impact. Okay, I wasn't crazy. It was an asteroid. Okay, Super Mario Brothers, you're already lying to me. Okay, anyway, our film opens up with a pixel animation explaining that a long time ago, dinosaurs ruled the Earth, but one day a meteor collided with the Earth. And rather than destroy all life, it actually created a parallel universe. I don't know why I was so transfixed on that. It created a parallel universe. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, there were two parallel universes created. One in which dinosaurs continued to live, thrive, and evolve, and the other where they died and humans took their place, aka our universe, our parallel universe. It's pretty interesting stuff, and it does sound pretty cool, but we're not here to discuss that. We're here to skip forward into the future, which is also the past, and watch as a hooded woman places a strange device on the steps of a church and gives it some sort of gemstone before pounding on the door and running away. Eventually, she makes her way to an underground tunnel before being captured by a military-looking man named Cooper. He asks her where she put the rock, but before he can get an answer from her, the tunnel begins to collapse, killing the mysterious woman. Back at the church, a group of nuns open the device only to find a giant egg inside, which then begins to hatch, and inside is a small baby girl. Gosh, this reminds me of my own birth. The doctor said I hatched a few days early, which surprised my mother at the time, who was keeping the egg warm, so it's just... memories, man. Memories. If anybody here remembers their own hatching, please let me know. Anyway, the movie skips ahead 20 years into the future, which is the present day, and we catch up with our heroes, Mario and Luigi, two brothers who may or may not be of the super variety. It seems today is their lucky day as they got a job offer to fix a broken washing machine. This is good news because they're about 3 months late on their rent, so the two hop into their van and race across Brooklyn to get started on the job. Only, sadly, when they arrive, it appears they've lost the job thanks to another group of plumbers beating them to the punch. Scapelli Plumbing. Actually, this makes me wonder, is this like a normal thing? Like, you call two plumbing companies and see which one arrives first, and then give them the job. Think of it like a cage fighting match, only rather than watching two plumber companies just beat each other up, you just have them speed across town and race each other to the job site. Actually, now that I'm saying it, that could make for a fun game. Sort of like a racing game with Mario and like his friends and rivals. Each person just seeing who could be number one, you know? Maybe you could add like items and weapons to really like spice up each race, you know? I think that would... yeah, that actually sounds really awesome. I'm surprised Nintendo's never done anything like that before. It's a shame we'll never have a game like that. I guess the best thing we have is Diddy Kong Racing. Oh well. Halfway across town at a construction site, we get to actually meet the owner of Scapelli Plumbing and Construction, as it turns out. He has turned up today to try to put a stop to a group of devilish students digging up dinosaur bones at one of his construction sites. The dig is led by Daisy, the girl who hatched from the egg. She even has that gemstone around her neck. I don't know why I giggled at the hatching from the egg thing. She even has the gemstone around her neck. Scapelli makes a few comments about how Daisy should really finish up excavation by tonight, or else she might happen to go missing. As it happens, you know, just going missing. Daisy doesn't take too kindly to this and marches off to make a few phone calls. While at a payphone, oh man, remember those? Luigi bumps into Daisy, and he's love-struck and just watches her. But he isn't the only person watching her. It appears two rather odd fellows spotted her and followed her here in hopes of kidnapping her for Koopa. These two are Spike and Iggy. After Daisy finishes up with the payphone, she has a bit of a chat with Luigi. Luigi can sense Daisy is tense about something and offers her a ride, which she accepts since she is also seemingly aware that Spike and Iggy are following her. After dropping Daisy off at the excavation site, Luigi asks her out for dinner and she accepts. Later that night at dinner, Luigi, Mario, Mario's girlfriend, and Daisy all get to know each other, and by the way, Mario's girlfriend is not Peach, for anybody who is curious. I can't even remember what Mario's girlfriend's name is. Anyway, they all get to know each other a little bit better, and Daisy explains that she's digging at the site because she believes it was the impact of the meteor that killed the dinosaurs, and it actually happened here in Brooklyn, which you'd think we would have noticed by now, you know, since a massive impact sites, you know, they're pretty noticeable. But hey, man, what in the world do I know? I don't study that type of thing for a good reason, because I'm too dumb to figure out what an impact site looks like. But anyway, Daisy also brings up the fact that she was abandoned at birth, and that she never takes the gemstone off around her neck. And as it turns out, Luigi and Daisy have something in common because they were abandoned at birth and didn't know their parents. Luigi tells Daisy that Mario actually raised him. After that, everybody calls it a night. Mario drives his girlfriend home and Luigi walks Daisy back to her apartment. On the way, the two continue chatting and bonding so much that Daisy offers to show him all the stuff she's been working on over at the dig site, and Luigi accepts her offer since he appears to rather enjoy the same things she does. As they make their way to the dig site, and after Mario drops off his girlfriend, Iggy and Spike kidnap her since they mistake her for Daisy. Down in the deep, dark tunnels, Luigi and Daisy share a tender moment and are about to kiss when the pipes in the tunnels burst open and two Scapelli plumbers run away. It's sabotage. Wait a moment. New York? Sabotage? My God, this wasn't Scapelli Plumbing. It was the Beastie Boys. I knew it. Oh, listen, y'all, it's a sabotage. Bloody Beastie Boys. Oh, Lord. Anyway, with Scapelli Plumbing gone, Luigi and Daisy run to Mario and tell him what happened, and he just leaps into action. All three return to... Hang on, wait a second, this just occurred to me. If all the pipes were busted and the dig site was flooding, doing catastrophic damage, why did they run goodness knows how long back to Mario and Luigi's apartment when they could have just run to a payphone and called him? Literally, they showed a payphone earlier in the film that Daisy was calling. That one, I would imagine, is the closest payphone, so doesn't matter. Maybe they were all out of quarters. Whatever, doesn't matter. Anyway, they all return to the dig site, and Mario, with Luigi's help, begin turning bolts and valves in hopes of stopping the water. Meanwhile, lurking close by is Iggy and Spike, and they explain to each other how they got it wrong again and that they need to find Daisy, and that's when they smell her nearby. And I also have to stop for a moment because it has just occurred to me again, if they could tell Daisy was, close by through scent alone, why couldn't they tell the difference between her and Mario's girlfriend that they just kidnapped? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Stop thinking about it. It's just a film. Okay, anyway. Mario is able to eventually stop the flow of water and save the day, but right as he and Luigi are about to finish up, Iggy and Spike sneak up behind them and knock them both out and kidnap Daisy. Thankfully, they aren't knocked out for long, and the two give chase down deeper into the tunnels until they stop and find a weird shimmering wall with Daisy calling out. She appears in the rock, and Luigi reaches out to grab her, but only grabs her gemstone necklace and snaps it off before Daisy vanishes back into the rock. Both Mario and Luigi are stunned by what just happened, but Luigi is too drunk on love to think about anything, and he leaps into action while Mario stays back out of fear. The classic traits of both Mario and Luigi. Mario, the ever-scared one, and Luigi, the plucky, courageous hero. Classic Super Mario, guys. Gosh, I love Nintendo games. Oh, they're great. I love my Super Nintendo. So good. So good. Anyway, once Mario summons the courage, he leaps into the rock portal and travels into another dimension where Mario and Luigi continue giving chase after Spike and Iggy and Daisy. The chase sends them into a disgusting, overcrowded city filled with signs and advertisements, all mentioning the name Koopa. For a moment, the pair lose sight of Daisy, but spot her being shoved into the back of a taxi and driven away. Mario and Luigi take in their new surroundings, but can't quite make sense of where or even when they might be. This place is strange and filled with crime and fungus and odd-looking people, but they both don't have time to think about it and then take off looking for Daisy. Across this new city, we're introduced to our evil villain of the story, Koopa, the same guy from the very start of the film. He and his girlfriend? Wife? Spicy secretary? Whatever. He and his partner discuss their plans for the future in a rather long and expository manner, as all good evil villains do. He explains what we already know, that the dimensions, that the meteor, so on and so forth, but what is new to us is that he needs the princess and her rock, which, as it turns out, is actually a piece of the very meteor that split the dimensions into two. He wants to merge the worlds together and wipe out the humans so he can rule. After that, old Iggy and Spike tell Koopa that they captured the princess and have locked her up. Koopa then asks where the rock is, and they tell him that Mario and Luigi have it. After that, Koopa puts the city-wide alert out to look for, plumbers, but Mario and Luigi. As Mario and Luigi walk around the city trying to figure things out. They get robbed by an old lady, who then in turn get robbed herself by a woman named Bertha, although I don't think we know her name just yet. But they get robbed by Bertha. Mario asks for the stone back, but Bertha puts it around her neck and tells them to come and get it, and then she leaps away thanks to a pair of rocket jump boots. Both Mario and Luigi are at an all-time low now, and a street busker approaches them and tells them both to cheer up, and then sings them both a happy song. But it turns out singing is against the law here, and some cops turn up to arrest Toad. Okay. Alright, okay. Mario... Yeah, sure, I get Mario. Luigi? Sure, yeah, I guess that's fine. Daisy looks more like Peach, but sure, whatever. And Cooper is... Okay, you know what? Never mind. My point died before it even really began. Anyway, it doesn't matter. As the police are arresting Toad, they notice Mario's plumbing tools and arrest both him and Luigi too. Down at the station, we get the most iconic scene of the movie-o. What did I just say? Did I just say movie-o? I didn't just say movie-o. Did I just say movie-o? We get the most iconic scene of the movie-o. I guess I did. I said movie-o. Okay, great. Fantastic. I'm keeping it. Anyway, where was I? I've completely lost it. Down at the station, we get the most iconic scene of the movie, the Mario scene. I don't doubt that 90% of you know what this scene is, but what some of you might not know about this scene is that Shigeru Miyamoto, I butchered that name, but I'm not going back, confirmed that this is indeed Mario's actual name. Sure, he said a few months earlier that it wasn't the case, and that he actually has no last name, but then a few months later would actually confirm it to be true. And I don't know, he flip-flopped on it, but right now Mario is the legit name of Mario, and I like to believe it's true. Anyway, the cops book Mario and Luigi Mario and toss them into a cell. Also, I just gotta ask, what in the world is going on right here? I have no idea what's going on. You know, like, judge not lest you be judged or whatever, but still, it's pretty weird. While in their cells, Toad gives the two brothers a rundown on the city's history to catch them up on what's been going on. But he also explains that the fungus all over the city is actually their de-evolved king, who was once betrayed by Koopa many years ago. They don't believe him, well, Luigi does, but still. After that, the two are dragged off to an interrogation room where they come face to face with Koopa himself. Koopa demands to have the meteorite piece, but Luigi and Mario legitimately have no idea what he's talking about, and since they won't give up the goods, he sends them to the Devo chamber. There, they find Toad strapped up in a chair, and Koopa tells his scientist to turn on the machine and de-evolve Toad. And it works. Toad becomes a Goomba, a dumb henchman who will carry out Koopa's orders without question, just the way he likes it. Now having showed Mario and Luigi what is about to happen to them, Koopa asks one more time where the meteorite piece is, and rather than get an answer, Mario and Luigi get the drop on him and lock him up in the Devo machine and turn it on while running away. Koopa gets exposed for a short time, but what the effects are is unknown. As the two brothers run away, they stop to hide, and Luigi notices the fungus trying to give them a bomb. But before he can do anything about it, they're chased away again, and that's when they get into a high-speed chase throughout the city, set to oddly cheerful music for some weird reason. Eventually, the chase ends with the brothers driving out of a pipe and almost plummeting to their deaths. However, the fungus, it appears, is trying to save them, and it prevents their deaths. With nowhere else to go, Mario and Luigi begin searching the desert they ended up in. Back in the city, Spike and Iggy tell Koopa what transpired with Mario and Luigi, and Koopa orders them both to go in search of them, but first, he gives them an upgrade with the Devo machine, which is in reverse, and it makes their brains bigger, which is supposed to make them smarter. So, with their upgrade, hopefully they are smarter and able to do what Koopa is asking of them. Meanwhile, Koopa's partner is sent to get Princess Daisy, ready for Koopa. She gives her a new dress and gives her some, info on her origin story about how the king and queen were overthrown by Koopa and the dimensions and blah 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 blah. But yeah, essentially what comes out of this is that Koopa wants to take control, but wants to do it with Daisy. So anyway, while alone and waiting for Koopa, Daisy meets up with an incredible looking practical effect dinosaur. Seriously, a lot of modern films cannot pull this off. But anyway, who is this lovable little scamp? Well, as Koopa enters the room, he tells Daisy that this is Yoshi, pet of the royal family. And after that, he begins to put the Mac Daddy moves on Daisy, which she rightly rejects, and Koopa sends her away. Way out in the desert, the hot desert, Iggy and Spike find their target. But before they can pull off whatever devious trap they had in mind, they drive themselves off a cliff and into a mud pit or something? Anyway, it seems like the upgrade wasn't much of an upgrade, and Mario and Luigi fish them out and tie them up. Iggy and Spike cough up all the info they know about Koopa's plans and the meteorite pieces and so on and so on and so on, and Mario and Luigi strike up a deal with them. If they hand over the meteorite fragment, then they will hand over Daisy. Iggy and Spike agree, and the four of them head back to the city to get the fragment back from Bertha, whom Iggy and Spike know. In the city, Mario, Luigi, and the upgraded but still rather brainless duo head into the nightclub where Bertha works. The place seems rather happening, everyone's dancing and having a good time. Mario and Luigi drop off their tools at the coat checker just at the front, and she tips off the police because alright, this bit got me. She wants the reward of 2,000 coupons. That's pretty clever. And I tip my fedora. Anyway, the four amigos all get cozy and wait for Bertha, and she eventually turns up at the club. Mario tells Luigi to hang back while he works his magic on her, and his reward for these slickest of moves? Well, a punch in the face. Mario doesn't give up, however, and returns to Bertha and compliments her punching skills, and eventually the two start dancing. This gives Mario a chance to try to get the necklace off around her neck, and thankfully he is able to do that just as the Goomba Patrol enters the club. But sadly, Mario loses the necklace he just worked so hard to get to Koopa's gal pal, and this forces Mario and Luigi to leave it behind and try to escape. And as they're about to get caught, Big Bertha swoops in. That's her name, by the way. I'm not being rude. Big Bertha swoops in to save the day and help the two brothers out, because it turns out she's fallen in love with Mario. And who can blame her? This is Mario we're talking about. Oh, wahoo! Anyway, Bertha holds off the Goombas and tells the brothers to put on a pair of jump boots and escape. And that's exactly what they do. And while they're running away, Luigi notices the fungus trying to give them another ba-bomb, and this time he takes it before continuing on and eventually escaping the Goombas by jumping into the back of a dump truck, which just as it happens is heading directly towards Koopa's tower where the Princess Daisy is. Lucky. Anyway, at the bottom of the tower, Mario and Luigi get off the back of the dump truck and sneak inside the building, ready to rescue Daisy, get the meteorite fragment, and stop Koopa. But first, A quick wardrobe change. That's right, we now get to see Mario and Luigi in their iconic game outfits. It only took 1 hour and 6 minutes to get here, but hey, who's counting? Jokes aside though, this actually did put a big smile across my face when I was a kid and saw this for the first time. But how could this moment get any better, you might be asking? Well, how about following it up with the strangest and maybe the worst scene in the movie, depending on who you talk to? The elevator dance scene. That's right. To sneak further into the building, Mario and Luigi take an elevator, but they get trapped in there by a bunch of Goombas, and the only way to escape the situation is to get them all to dance together. I can honestly say I wasn't expecting any of this, but oh well. Meanwhile, Koopa has been informed that there are intruders in the building, and that his henchmen Iggy and Spike have switched allegiances and are now working to overthrow him. I also forgot to mention that they were captured in the nightclub, so whoopsies. Anyway, Koopa and his... I really have no idea who she is to him, but whatever. He and his partner get into a bit of a lover's tiff because he wants to marry the princess, merge the worlds together so he can rule side by side with Princess Daisy. But his partner doesn't like this because she wants to be with him and rule together. But after the argument, she, under her breath, reveals that she doesn't need him anymore because she'll rule on her own, especially since she has the meteorite fragment now. And after that, she makes her way over to Daisy's room where she tries to kill her out of spite. But thankfully, Yoshi saves the day with a good old tongue whip. Missing the iconic sound effect, but still. This allows Daisy time to escape and she runs down the hallway. But oh no! She bumps into some Goombas and even Iggy and Spike who were captured, as I said before. But she's able to get away again, this time with Iggy and Spike in tow, who proclaim that they've been working for her father the entire time because they've actually been supporters of her father, I guess. But none of this makes any sense whatsoever just because of the events of the movie. If they were working with her father, why were they trying to capture her and get the meteorite fragment? The very thing Koopa wanted this entire time. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, after they tell her that, they take her to her father, or at least what's become of him. And after that, Iggy and Spike peace out. Peace out. Meanwhile, at the top of the tower, we learn that Koopa has been watching all the events unfold thus far thanks to his security system. But what comes as a shock to Koopa is hearing that his troops have been deployed, but not by his authorization, by Lena's authorization. Who is Lena? Well, it turns out that's his partner's name, so I guess the entire time her name was Lena. I don't think that they ever mentioned it up until this point, but hey, it's good to know. It's good to know she has a name. Either way, Koopa puts the pieces together and now knows that she must have the meteorite fragment. It's at this point when Daisy, Mario, and Luigi are all reunited together. But before they can all escape, Daisy takes the time to show the two her father, the king, this weird fungus ball thing. Luigi is surprisingly calm and rather happy about all of this because he always knew the fungus was trying to help them, like with the Babum, or saving them from certain death after plummeting out of a pipe in a high-speed chase. It's at this point when Daisy also lets Mario know that his girlfriend was kidnapped and locked in this tower. Remember his girlfriend? From the start of the film? Me neither. I totally forgot about her. I forgot all about Mario's girlfriend. Oh, heavens. Anyway, Mario, upon hearing this, takes off to go and save his girlfriend. But after he leaves, Koopa enters the room with his Goomba squad. It doesn't have the same ring as Koopa Troopers, but I don't think the movie ever uses the term Koopa Troopers. At least, if they did, I totally missed it. But anyway, he enters the room and captures both Luigi and the princess. But what is he gonna do with them, well, we'll have to wait, because we return to Mario, who's now trying to rescue his girlfriend, and thanks to the power of love, but mostly luck, planning, and teamwork, he's able to pull it off and rescue not only his girlfriend, but a bunch of other kidnapped girls, and they try to escape from the Goomba Squad by jumping down a icy pipe on a mattress. On the other side of town, Lena heads towards the portal and the meteor so she can begin to merge the worlds together, but she's captured en route and has the meteorite fragment taken from her and given back to Koopa, who then surprisingly orders her release. See, he isn't such a bad guy after all. After letting her go, Koopa then orders his troops to begin a full-scale invasion of our world where all his troopers can kill us all. So, I don't know, maybe I spoke too soon about Koopa. However, their march to the portal is interrupted as Mario and the girls he just rescued fly out of an icy pipe and smash into Koopa and all his goons, thus saving Luigi and Princess Daisy. How lucky. Oh, you gotta love a good coincidence. Anyway, Koopa isn't out of the fight just yet, and he holds everybody at gunpoint. But while he's focused on them, Mario then shoots a jump boot directly at him, knocking Koopa over a railing and into a bucket. A big bucket that just so happened to be there. Sure, why not? Anyway, Koopa then starts taking shots at everybody, but Mario leaps into action and swings on some fungus and begins to fight Koopa on the bucket. Oh, I see it now. It's his flying car clown thing from the games. Duh, of course it is. This must be the clown car's origin story before he gets like a paint job and goes to clown college, I guess. Anyway, in the fight, Koopa drops the meteorite fragment, but Lena grabs it and runs away screaming like a lunatic as she prepares to merge the worlds together herself. Again. Luigi, Daisy, and all the other girls see this and take off after her as Mario continues to fight Koopa in the bucket and through the city as well. Mario then pulls out a ba-bum and winds it up and lets it go as everybody flees and runs for their lives, knowing what this little fella can do. The ba-bum then begins very slowly walking towards Koopa. But Lena is able to get to the portal and the meteor, and she inserts the fragment. This costs her life, however, but the worlds begin to merge. This, for some reason, only affects Mario, Koopa, the kidnapped girls, and a few of the Goombas, but yeah, sure, whatever. In our world, Koopa declares victory and tries to de-evolve Mario, but he leaps out of the way, and that Scapelli guy from the start of the film, he gets hit and turned into a monkey. Koopa then tries to shoot Mario again, but Mario whips out a mushroom that Luigi picked earlier in the film, and for some reason it grows and blocks the de-evolving gunshot, but sure, okay, whatever. Anyway, back in the Dino world, Luigi and Daisy try to pull the meteorite fragment out of the meteor to reverse the merging worlds, and thankfully they are able to rip it out and the worlds begin to unmerge themselves, and once again, this only affects a few random people. I don't know the rules here. What's going on? But anyway, with the worlds back to normal, Luigi runs to help Mario in his fight with Koopa, and the two team up and get some de-evolving guns and shoot Koopa with them, and this begins to transform him, but not before that little ba-bum from earlier stops right at Koopa's feet and explodes, launching him into the air and into the bucket from earlier. Can also somebody tell me what's up with this random product placement? What a strange advertisement and strange thing to put it on. Reebok. The shoe that explodes. What? Okay, sure, whatever. Anyway, as the brothers slowly walk over to the bucket where Cooper fell so they can check on him, Cooper pops out in his full dino form, but have no fear, pals, because Mario and Luigi just shoot him again, and he turns to goo. After splattering all over the ground, the whole of Dino City cheers and parties like it's 1993. Factually, the best year to party. Everybody's having a wonderful time. They're dancing and cheering and so on, that even the Fungus King himself gets in on the action and somehow evolves himself back into his normal form. So, I mean, if that ain't the power of a mass 1993 dance party, then I just don't know what is. Anyway, with the worlds now saved, Mario and Luigi have to return back to their own world, but Daisy wants to stay back and seal the portal or something. So Luigi and her, say goodbye, and Yoshi's there as well for some reason, and Mario and Luigi return to their worlds as heroes. The end. But it actually isn't the end, because 3 weeks later, Daisy busts in their apartment door and tells both brothers that their help is needed once again. But what that help is, or why she needs it, or anything like that, we'll never know, because this movie never got a sequel. Now it's the end, is what I would be saying if there actually wasn't an after-credits scene with Iggy and Spike, but that scene doesn't matter. So now it is really the end. For real reals this time, and not for play. How was the story of this movie? Well, I mean, listen, I'll give it credit where credit is due, and that is because it does have elements from the games in the story. Koopa is there, Yoshi too, Daisy, Mario, Luigi, and Goombas, they're all here in the film. I mean, along with, the ba-bum and jumping and so on, but that's about it. It's just surface level things, and even those things are so twisted and warped that you wouldn't even really think they were from Mario. I mean, look, let's, for example, take the simple Mushroom Kingdom. Even if you stripped away all the bright colors of the game, you'd still be left with, mushrooms, not fungus. And I mean, yeah. Mushroom is a fungus, I know it, yep. Look, I just hope you understand what I mean, right? I just don't picture mold everywhere. I would picture a bunch of mushrooms. Maybe people are living inside of mushrooms in like a sort of fantasy setting, if that makes sense. But, alright, look, let's put all of that to the side. How is the story on its own taken at face value? Is it actually any good? Well, it's okay, I guess. It isn't to the point of being, entertaining, but it also isn't to the point of being boring. You've got the reluctant heroes thrust into a strange new world, and they have to save a princess and defeat the bad guy. I mean, look, that in of itself is a very simple, reliable story premise, and that's technically what this movie is, but it all feels wrong, like something isn't quite right. You get the sense that you're watching an extremely chopped up film, and about an hour of content is just missing somewhere, or was completely rewritten and refilmed. And the truth is, that is exactly what is going on here. And it's noticeable. Now, I won't go into all the details about the behind the scenes things, but let me just say, a lot of wild and crazy things did happen, almost to the point of seeming like that drama itself would have made for a fantastic film. Kinda like that movie based on the making of The Room is actually more interesting than the film itself. In fact, watching both of those movies together makes the entire experience seem oddly amazing. If you are honestly, genuinely interested in the behind-the-scenes things, I strongly recommend this video right here by Brandon Tenold. He is one of my favorite YouTubers, and he covers a ton of films across the entire genre spectrum. I've been watching him for about 8 years now, I think. I can't quite remember exactly, but I do remember that the first video that popped up in my YouTube feed all that time ago was this video right here, 2019, after the fall of New York, because I remember having this memory of seeing that thumbnail in my YouTube feed and saying, I didn't know they made more Escape from the New York films, so I clicked on it and watched it. I've been hooked on Brandon's channel for a long while, and I love all of his stuff. He is extremely talented at both sharing a film story, but also discussing the history too. In fact, it's because of his channel that I do the same sort of intro to my videos. He uses art based on film, and I do the same thing, but with games. Is it stealing? I mean, maybe, but I like to think of it as a sort of tribute to him, my own personal tribute to him. In any case, I really do recommend his video about the film. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and hopefully I didn't like reuse any of his jokes or anything. I probably should have watched the video after writing my own script. Oh Lord, I hope that there's nothing. But anyway, I'll leave a link in the pinned comment below. And if you do just so happen to watch his video, make sure to leave a little like and comment for him, because he really does deserve the love and support. He really does work hard. But anyway, moving on. I'm going to be real with you. I rather like the set design of this film. That grungy, dystopian-esque look is actually really awesome. There are so many wild elements within the film that I really do believe it would make for a fantastic film. However, that film doesn't include Mario and his friends, and that's the great cosmic joke of the whole thing. This is so far away from how I would picture a Mario film that it's almost hilarious. I remember seeing this as a kid, and I just remember seeing a few things from the games, and then that would make me smile. It did have enough going on to make my tiny child brain, clap, whee, but as an adult, it doesn't really do anything for me, sadly. Not as a Mario movie anyway. When I think of Mario, I think bright colors, wonderful locations, strange shapes everywhere. I think of jumping on Goombas and all the sound effects, Princess Peach, Bowser, just a lighthearted adventure. I do not think leather, crime, dinosaurs, urban cities, shy guys who I think are shy guys, who might be into leather for other reasons, and of course, slimy, fungus-covered streets. Again, if you were to remove all things Mario and rework the script a bit, this could have been something akin to Dark City, RoboCop, Escape from New York, Johnny Mnemonic, or Split Second. That is the type of vibes this movie lays down, and as an adult watching this film, that is what I want to see. That would have been a cool movie. Heck, aside from that, the actual look of the film, if you were to take that idea of being something else, you've already got the awesome actors in the film. You've got Bob Hoskins, Dennis Hopper, Lance freaking Henriksen, John Leguizamo, and Fiona Shaw, and that's just to name a few. These are some great and highly talented actors, and with them and that weird dystopian-esque film, I genuinely think you could create something mind-blowing. But sadly, we didn't get that. We got a story that had just enough going on for it to not be boring, but not enough to be cool or anything greater than okay. It's a shame. It really, really is. Actually, speaking of the actors, they still turn in a decent performance, especially Dennis Hopper, who looks like he gave up and was actually just having fun, but not giving up to the point of not being an actual professional actor. Like, he does give the character of Cooper some sort of depth, if you can actually believe it. He calls out the fact that he descends from a T-Rex, and so he does like these little T-Rex arms, which is funny when you catch it, but he also makes him like a bit of a germaphobe for some reason. But I mean, hey, look, it's character depth, so I mean, something is better than nothing. But aside from him, Bob Hoskins, I mean, he's just always a treat. And while, yeah, you can tell that much like Dennis Hopper, he isn't a fan of the film and the, material, he still does buckle down and turn in a good performance because, again, he's a professional actor. And as for John Leguizamo, well, I mean, this was the first time I'd ever seen him in a film, but, I mean, he looks like he's still having a good time, but, apparently that was because he and Bob Hoskins were just drunk all the time. So, I mean, look, either way, I've always had like a bit of a soft spot for John Leguizamo. So yeah, I mean, it's always a treat seeing him pop up in a film. And I remember enjoying The Pest when I was a kid, and Spawn as well. I mean, The Pest is I watched that as an adult, and it's not it's not a good film. Don't watch it. But I mean, Spawn, actually, I can't remember how I feel of Spawn. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But he also pops up in John Wick as well. And, and finally, the most wasted actor was Lance Henriksen. I mean, how on earth do you waste that legend? Oh, it's a shame. But, I mean, that seems to be the whole theme of the movie. It's a damn shame, This film is just, more or less, Mario in name only. But it was the first video game movie to be made, at least to my knowledge. There might be lost media out there or something obscure or whatever. But the way I look at this film is like this. It wriggled its way out of the primordial sludge so that we could one day have a good video game adaptation. It showed Hollywood how not to do a video game adaptation. But did Hollywood learn anything? Well, to my own knowledge, not to leap ahead and spoil things in the future for this series, but no, Hollywood didn't learn anything. not for a long time at least. But I guess there is one last thing I should touch upon before finishing, and that is the film's score. Which, I mean, I kind of already did a little bit in the script. It's odd, to say the least. Sometimes you get music that fits, and then other times it was like the composer was scoring an entirely different film, but they kept his music anyway and just shoved it in the film. I've got no doubt a lot of this might actually be true. Like I keep saying, the behind-the-scenes drama was wild, so it wouldn't surprise me to learn that the composer really did score another version of this film, and they just kept what he did and just, slapped it onto this version of the film. But aside from those weird inconsistencies, is the music any good? Yeah, it's actually pretty good. I mean, it's decent, but like I said, it just doesn't match sometimes. But it is, I guess, a competent film score. I guess I'll put it that way. But I mean, whatever. Whatever. I mean, it's kind of like one small good thing in, like, a sea of bad. So, but anyway, that's all I have to say about the film's score. So let me wrap this up and move on over to my final thoughts. Because the truth is, yes, I could sit here all day and poke fun at the movie, but then that's all this video would end up being, just me making fun of the film. So let's just sum up my thoughts as a whole and move on with our day. Would you believe me if I actually told you I don't hate this film? I don't love it, let me make that perfectly clear. I just have a bit of a soft spot for it. I still have these memories lingering around in my head about seeing the film trailer playing in the video rental store, and I remember sitting on the floor in front of the TV after taking it home and just watching it and always pointing at the things I could recognize. There was a sort of innocence in that, a simplistic mindset that I I actually still wish I had. I personally can't let go of those memories. I cherish them. It's because of them that I can't actually bring myself to hate the film or discard it as nothing more than trash. Look, it isn't perfect. I mean, it is far from perfect, like I keep saying, but it's not a terrible film. Like, this isn't the worst film I have ever seen, but it isn't a bad film either. You know what I mean? It's just not the best. Yeah, it's just, there are so many things wrong with it, but you also get these hints of something greater, something that we never got to see. We will never know how this film was originally going to be. We'll never get to see what type of film it could have been if it wasn't attached to Mario. As an adult, I fully recognize that this is a horrible adaptation. There isn't a single fiber of my being that would argue that. It fails on all levels, but what it does somehow manage to pull off just ends up being surface level garbage. We had maybe 3 or 4 Mario games before the release of this film. The game franchise was known to an extremely large fan base, not just by children, but their parents too. And while yes, I know that this was the first film of its kind, I still don't understand how you manage to take that Mario and tarnish it and create this film. It's just, this film should have been far more fantasy, lighthearted, and whimsical. You know, bright colors, fun character designs, wonderful practical effects, and an imaginative set design. If I had to give some examples of what I mean, think something like The Dark Crystal, The Neverending Story, Labyrinth, or even though it's animated, maybe The Black Cauldron. And yeah, I know, those are far darker than what I want it to be, but I hope you kind of like get the rough idea of what I'm trying to convey here. Amazing puppet work, bright colors, vivid imagination, and so on. Heck, maybe if you couldn't pull it off in live action, then maybe do something animated like The Black Cauldron. But a film like that could only be created in a perfect world without directors who think that they know best and have huge egos and studio interference and so on and so forth. But I need to repeat that this movie wasn't awful when I was a kid. And I think in that aspect, at least for me, the movie was somewhat of a success, I guess. I've met plenty of people who hated the film when they were younger, and I've met even more people who hate it as an adult, and that's fine. It's fine that people didn't like the film back then, but there were people out there who did enjoy it, and I'm one of them. I refuse to hide that fact and pretend like I didn't. You know, I have a good memory of enjoying the film. Why in the world would I want to act like I didn't? Why would I want to spoil that just to, I don't know, make people on the internet happy? Just to fit in. But aside from my feelings as a kid, is it a good movie? No. No, it wasn't a good movie back then. It's not a good movie now. It's just not a good movie in general. But again, it doesn't change how I felt as a kid. So should you watch the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Film? No, not really. I mean, if you want to do it out of just sheer curiosity, go for it, pal. Just don't sit there thinking it's gonna blow your socks off or anything. Actually, while we're on the subject of watching the film, you'd better be prepared to actually get the film. This film isn't on any streaming service or anything like that. Nintendo wants to pretend like this movie never happened, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because if they just let it go up on a streaming service, they'd make money off of it. Not much, but they'd still make money off of it. But hey, whatever. Nintendo is a very odd company at times. Still, I think the biggest loss isn't that the fact that we, had a failed Mario movie. It's the fact that this is actually 2 failed films. The Mario Brothers film and another dark fantasy cyberpunk-ish film. We'll never get to see what either one of those films could have been, and I think that's the biggest shame of all. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there for today, pals. I know that this video was pretty rough around the edges, but the more of these I do, the more I'll learn and improve. Kind of like how I did with my video game videos. So I hope you stick with me, pal. But what's next on this movie train? Well, the next stop at movie train station? I don't know where I'm going with this. The next movie on the list is Double Dragon from 1994. This was the second big video game film to be released, and it's actually something I never got to watch back in the day, so this will be my first time watching it. I'm not sure when I'll be able to fit said video into my surprisingly very busy schedule, but I promise that when I can fit it in, I will. And now, there's one more thing I need to bring up, and it's the thing that a lot of people get annoyed by, but it's that like, comment, subscribe thing. I don't like saying it because, let's be real, you're not children, you know how YouTube works, but all I'm asking for is the truth and a fair chance. If you actually believe I've truly earned that like because you actually enjoyed this video, then please click that like button. But if you didn't enjoy it and you don't feel like I've earned it, hey, click that dislike button. It's all good. And if you really feel like I've earned a comment or a subscription, then by all means, do those things as well. It really makes my day knowing that I've earned it. So thank you in advance if you really do feel like I have earned it. And there's also one more thing. I have that YouTube membership thing. I don't like talking about it. It makes me feel gross. But that's a thing that is there. It's a $2 tier. I didn't want to go any higher than that because, I mean, life's expensive enough as it is, and I do not want to be adding to your bill pile. So, but if you really do feel like I've earned it, and I mean really, 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 really feel like I've earned it, then I'd be more than happy to welcome you to the Lycan Colony. You get some emotes when I live stream, which I know I haven't been doing lately. I broke my monitor, my second monitor. Anybody who's ever streamed with one monitor knows how annoying that is. But anyway, you get some emotes for streaming, and you also get access to the official Discord group where we, chat about things. I mean, yeah, it's Discord. I don't know what else to say. You get to come in and interact with other people and myself too. But there's also the other perk of me reading out your usernames, which is the one I dread the most because I tend to butcher the pronunciation of usernames. So I get a little embarrassed about that. So sorry about that if I do butcher your username. I never mean any malice when I do it. I'm just that dumb. But I hope you do get a chuckle out of it when it does happen. So yeah, that's about it. But speaking of butchering usernames, it is that time again when I do read out the names of all the Venzo folk who have gone through the great joining and become a member of the Lycan Colony. And those fine folk are Family Dog, David Welch, TJ and Jack, Aaron Nelson, Amelia, Adam Myers, Miami Fred, The Rog, hang on a second. What's going on here? Hang on a second. What's this? Tiri, you changed your username. Okay, hold on a second. Here we go. Tiri Clowns Are People, Dr. Tapioca Weasel. I see it now. I sounded the word out. I split it and I did it. Rana. Okay. Tiri, Clowns Are People, Dr. Tapioca Weasel. I hope I got that right. Did I get it right, Tiri? I hope I got that right. Are you changing your username on purpose? Okay, anyway. Tiri, Joe Enderman, the Elder Irish, and Anya the Khajiit. So thank you to each and every one of you. it really, really warms my heart that you do decide to stick around and support me. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to everybody who has made it this far in the video. You're the real deal, so thank you very, very much for listening to me waffle on for probably longer than the actual film was itself. But anyway, I'll try to, please, oh, by the way, please give me feedback on this video. I really do want to know, do you want me to like to really condense the story? Do you like that it's as long as it is? Do you, I don't know, please give me feedback. Be honest. I even if it's critical, I need to hear these things. So please do. I know I can't, please everybody, but yeah, please let me know what you thought of this one. And that's it. That's all I had to say. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you have a fantastic week or night and a good sleep and everything else. So take care, be safe, be happy, and peace out, pals.